Switching email marketing platforms can seem intimidating, so much so that we often stay with inferior platforms just because the thought of migrating seems so daunting. But in this video, I took the plunge and I finally ditched ConvertKit, which is now known as Kit, by the way. Here's how I migrated to a new platform, including some practical advice to help you make the switch. Now, I know what you're thinking. Christian, why on earth would you ditch Kit? Isn't it a decent email marketing system? And yes, it is. If you're expecting a laundry list of all the reasons I'm fed up with Kit, this isn't the video for you. In all honesty, I've enjoyed my experience with Kit. However, as I expand my business and offer new courses and products to my audience, I'd like an email marketing platform with more of a focus on e-commerce. Something that could support abandoned cart emails, automatic coupon generation for welcome emails, and other e-commerce related features. I used OmniSend in a few prior videos and I thought to myself, man, this is a really slick email marketing platform. I kind of want to switch. On top of this, OmniSend not only sponsored this video, but they've also been one of the biggest supporters on my channel this year. And no, OmniSend didn't force me to switch or pay me to switch. In fact, they didn't even ask me to switch. When I told OmniSend I wanted to switch, they said, "Are you sure OmniSend meets your requirements? We don't want you to switch if Kit is already a good solution for you." But honestly, I'm looking forward to switching to gain access to those advanced e-commerce features. And that is another reason I'm publicly documenting my experience. I want to prove that you aren't trapped at your current email marketing provider. Yes, it's true. Migrating from any platform to any platform takes more work than I wish it did. But that doesn't mean you have to keep paying for a platform you don't love. So although OmniSend sponsored this video and is a channel sponsor, I'm paying for an OmniSend subscription with my own money and I'm looking forward to the extra automation features. One final note before we jump in, my goal with this video is to give you a general strategy on how to migrate between email marketing platforms. You don't necessarily have to be coming from Kit or going to OmniSend to get value. With that being said, OmniSend has a free plan for the first 250 contacts, and none of the automation features are hidden behind a paywall. When you're ready to upgrade, you can get 30% off your first 3 months with promo code KRAYLER30 at the link below. Alright, so I debated what the best order was to move things over, and naturally, the temptation is to migrate your contacts first since that feels like the main and most important task. But actually, I think it's best to save that for last. That's because the migration process may take a few hours or days depending on how in-depth your setup is. If you migrate your contacts first and it takes you a while longer to change your sign-up forms on your website from Kit to OmniSend, you're still getting new subscribers to your Kit list in that period of time. Then you'll have to resolve the conflict and re-migrate new contacts to OmniSend at the end. Instead, it makes the most sense to migrate the sign-up forms first, then your contacts. But before we even get to migrating the sign-up forms, you'll want to migrate any automation you have first. Here's the idea. If we migrate the automation first, we can take as much time as needed to migrate our sign-up forms. When subscribers reach our new OmniSend sign-up forms, they'll immediately be added to the automation. In this state, both Kit and OmniSend will be able to send automation effectively until all sign-up forms have been migrated to OmniSend. Once this is done, we can move on to the final step of migrating your contacts. If you don't use automation, you can skip to step 2, but let's get started with migrating the automation. I got to work starting by establishing my tags from Kit and OmniSend. I did this by creating myself as a contact and adding all the possible tags to my profile. After this, I created my first automation. Keep in mind that OmniSend requires you to have a store or website linked to use automation, so I connected it with my WordPress site. I set up the triggers for my automation, which include any new subscribers with the tag from my course. When doing this, be sure your triggers include filters so the subscription method is sign-up form or the origin is API. This will prevent imported contacts with existing tags from going back through the automation in OmniSend. Once I set up the triggers, I replicated my automation structure, adding the emails and time delays in between, and copying the email contents from Kit to OmniSend. Make sure you replace any variables like the contact's first name or last name with the equivalent variable tags in OmniSend, which you can find by clicking this bracket here. Copying the emails is by far the most labor-intensive part of the migration process. Depending on how many automations you have, this may take a while. Thankfully, you can work on this in as many sessions as needed. Because of the order we're doing things, there's no rush to migrate as fast as possible. Once your automation workflow is set up, you can click Start Workflow. After this, I migrated my sign-up forms to OmniSend. There are many different ways to collect subscribers on your email list, and everyone's setup is different, but the two most common methods are using the built-in forms provided by your email platform, or using the API to integrate directly with your website or plugin. In my case, I'm using SureTriggers, which is a Zapier alternative, to subscribe site visitors to my newsletter when they fill out a form or enroll in a course. I logged into SureTriggers, added OmniSend as an app, and swapped out ConvertKit for OmniSend in all of my workflows. However, if you're using the landing pages or forms feature of your current email provider, you can also head over to the Forms tab of the OmniSend dashboard to create embeddable sign-up forms and pop-ups. I also use Elementor Forms to collect subscribers, and while it doesn't natively support OmniSend, it supports webhooks, so I created a webhook workflow in SureTriggers to add subscribers and add my desired tags. At this point, everything was ready to go, so I just needed to export my contacts at Kit and import them to OmniSend. I went to my subscriber list in Kit and selected all my contacts. Exporting them may take a few minutes, but I got an email notification when the CSV was ready. Then, in the OmniSend dashboard, I went to the Audience tab and clicked Add Contacts to import my CSV. I mapped the CSV fields to the appropriate fields in OmniSend, and within a minute, the import was successful. The one snag I hit was importing my tags. OmniSend doesn't support importing tags from a CSV file, but thankfully they are working on adding this. The current solution is to import your tags as a custom property and create segments based on tag key phrases. Then you can add the tags to the respective segments. It's not an ideal solution, but at least it's a way of migrating your tags without having to go contact by contact, which just wouldn't be a viable option for hundreds or thousands of contacts. And speaking of segments, that's the last thing left to migrate. I don't have any segments at Kit, but if you have segments to migrate, you can recreate them under the Audience tab. You can create segments from scratch, or you can select from some useful templates. I successfully completed my migration, and the process was relatively smooth since OmniSend offers 24/7 human support. Their response time averages 10 minutes, and it was amazing to be able to reach out for timely help when I needed to sort out the tags. I hope my experience has helped you see that although it takes a bit of work, it's very doable to migrate between email marketing platforms. I'm going to leverage OmniSend's e-commerce focused automation with my community, and if you want to try OmniSend to see if it might be a fit for you, they offer a free plan for the first 250 contacts with no features hidden behind a paywall. OmniSend can also do SMS marketing, and that's another reason I migrated from Kit. When you're ready to upgrade, you can get 30% off your first 3 months using promo code Krayler30 at the link below. And if you'd like a guide on how to create opt-in pop-ups and leverage email automation in WordPress, I've got a full video on that here.